Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. About to wrap up my day. It's getting that time and it's Friday, so for me it's special and about to get it all wrapped up for the end of the week. I've been busy all day mowing, as you can see, doing a mowing job for someone and pondering all this stuff. And there's a lot of things going on. I made a video earlier over on locals, and I know some of you just hate the thought of going over there and watching anything, but I make separate content. Sometimes I post the YouTube stuff over there, but I make separate content just for the folks over there, and it's unfiltered. You know, I don't have to worry about YouTube filters or anything. It's free speech. Anyway, there's a link in the description below, and I'm not going to regurgitate that whole video, but sorry, I got dust in my eyes. It was so dusty where I was mowing. Goodness, can't hardly see. We as a government, when I say we, the government and our military, is maybe more so than ever before, building up very rapidly to go to war. This thing, and I may be completely off on this, but there's just a little bit of a gut feeling. All of these NCOs that the Army has called up in order to report very rapidly, to go through training to be a recruiter, it's got me thinking. And I talk about this in more depth in that video I just mentioned, but recruitment has been down for a while. And it's not because there's not enough recruiters. It's because no one wants to join. This younger generation, in large part, yes, there's still some, but in large part, doesn't want to join. Why do they think that more recruiters would cause people to want to join? Could it possibly be that it's not so much that they're wanting them to be recruiters, but for them to process draftees? I don't know. Something to think about. Because if we're about ready to go into some big war, at least a Middle Eastern war that could, the way things are looking, the tensions are so high, could expand into something bigger. You know, the last couple of times we've been in the Middle East, whether it be Iraq and then over into Afghanistan, we weren't on the verge of a big war with China and Russia at the same time. We weren't on a verge of a big war with Iran. You know, everyone was pretty content with us, you know, fighting Afghanistan and Iraq. This is different. For 2 years now at least, the tensions have been building and building and building. And it's just like it's right around the corner that we're about ready to see a big war. And the way our government and our military is behaving is certainly indicating that they're also getting ready for that. And if we go into a big war and that there's more of that kind of spills over onto U.S. soil, I mean, just yesterday, they arrested a guy in, what was it, Houston, Texas, or Austin, Texas, somewhere down in Texas. He was a Jordanian guy that had purchased guns and was training and planning to do some kind of terrorist attack, is what they say. I mean, we don't know how true anything is anymore, but that's what they say. And are they building a narrative that when things like that start happening, yeah, see, we told you so. And then when that starts happening, if it starts, are we talking about major panic in the streets? How many other sleeper cells are going to go active? How many people are just going to lose it and behave really badly? Because there's so much tension on society, not just this war, but on society. It's just like it's a pressure cooker just getting ready to explode because of many different things, not just the war and the, you know, this or that that's going on with it, which side people are on. I'm talking about multiple other things that are really completely unrelated to that, but yet the tensions are so high right now. And the mental instability is high, and the weakness. I mean, if these things start really happening, we're definitely going to see a separation of the men from the boys. and that may not be I mean, it'd be a good thing in some ways, but certainly not a pleasant thing to see. We have a weak society, and I mean, just the fact that they can't get enough people to join the military. I mean, that's never really been a problem. Young people have always been, for the most part, I mean, other than the 60s and 70s, for the most part, have always been patriotic and, gone and served. And now they have no interest in it. There's countless videos online of young people saying they have no interest. They're not going to join up. They're not going to, be drafted. They'll dodge it every way they can. Probably more so than we've ever seen in the past. And and I'm not advocating going and fighting in this war either. I mean, I certainly wouldn't go do it. It's not about patriotism anymore. It's about going and fighting the globalists' battles so that they can take over the world. But it just doesn't look good. And it looks like that if all of these things that look like they're chess pieces being set up on the board, right? And then if it all happens in the way that it looks like it could happen, the amount of hard times that we're going to have to face could be more than what most people realize. I'm not saying that to be all doomsday and spread fear or anything. I'm doing it to try to wake you up. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe nothing will happen. Maybe it'll be like, excuse me, maybe it'll be like the, Ukraine and Russian thing, that it just happens and it doesn't really directly affect us so much. It affects our economy and things like that because we're going into debt by hundreds of billions of dollars. But other than that, it's not directly affecting us. It could be that way, but it doesn't look like it. We have to be serious about our preparedness and understanding that the whole world could rapidly change. One terrorist attack, one wrong move or strategic move in this war could cause things to kind of spiral pretty quickly. I've heard many intelligent people far more knowledgeable than me, talk about their predictions of how all of this Agenda 2030 Great Reset stuff's going to go, and they've said, I've heard a few different times over the last couple of years, that they believe it'll be a slow progression that will pick up speed little by little, incrementally, so that it's like the frog in the frying pan. It's able to get by and people not notice it too much, and then all of a sudden it's going to just fall off a cliff. Are we getting close to that cliff moment? I don't know. But I would certainly suggest being focused, staying focused, getting your home ready, getting your people ready, getting your family ready for the things that's going to happen. Probably going to be a lot of psychological stuff. There always is. Definitely a lot of spiritual stuff. Gather your people, your tribe, your friends, the ones that you know and trust, because in the end, that's going to do more for you than any government or any therapist or anything like that. That strong bonded community, that strong bonded family, it's going to be more helpful than just about anything, because without it, it's going to be a big struggle on the human psyche of the things that you're going to see and the things you're going to have to endure. And it gives you motivation, and it gives you peace, it gives you joy even in troubled times. And so having that and making sure it's a strong relationship is going to be important. Of course, do all the other things that I talk about all the time, the stocking up, topping things off, looking for the weak spots in your preps. That kind of stuff is important too, but my goodness, things just look pretty crazy right now, and I would strongly suggest you take it serious. It at this point, I've said this in the last few days. I don't perceive any kind of way that this war can really be avoided at this point. I mean, unless one side just up and concedes, I don't see any other way of it happening. And it's almost like the American side is just they want it to happen. I mean, they could say that all this troop buildup is just a show of force to keep other people from getting involved, but I think it's a lot more than that. I mean, one carrier group setting off the coast of Israel would probably have done that, not all of this other stuff that's being dumped over there. We know that our leaders, they love war. They want it. The banks love it. The military-industrial complex wants it. The economy wants it. And when you see a country or several countries going through rough economic times, one of the best things to boost the economy is a big old fat war. And I think that's what they're going to give us. So we need to get ready for that. And I would be taking note of the whole draft thing, because it's possible that that a draft may not necessarily be, the intentions of it may not necessarily be to get people, although that would be part of it, to go fight, but it could also be a way to cause a lot more chaos. If there were mass amounts of protests and people rejecting it, people hiding people trying to keep people from getting drafted, it could cause a lot of disruption. And you know, we're less than a year away from a big election, so we get involved in a war, and there's a draft, and there's protests, and there's riots and violence and little pockets of little violence, whether they be terrorists or illegals and stuff like that, sleeper cells. It'd be a good case to not even have an election. I don't know. I mean, think about it. Think about what is most likely going to happen between now and the next, year, 12 months from now. Yeah, think about that. Because you know good and well that they're going to do anything and everything they can to stay in power. Absolutely. You've seen what they've done in the past. You don't think that there's any limits to what they would do to stay in that kind of power? You need to be prepping up, folks, big time. And getting your house in order in a very solid way. Mentally, physically, and spiritually. You know that. And you need to be doing it. Folks, do what you have to do to get your family and your tribe ready. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.